You guys, we're going to be talking about pronouns again. So as a start, I'd like to review the ones that we've already gone over, and those are the direct object pronouns. That's me, te, nous, vous, and le, la, les. We'll be talking about lui, leur after that, but first, as a review, a direct object occurs when you have a subject and a verb, and the verb acts directly onto the object. When we do this, it's because there's no preposition separating the verb and the object. So right here, we have no preposition. Okay? Instead, we have just a word that starts off being underlined. The first word of the underlined thing is perhaps le, la, les, or L apostrophe plus some sort of an object, or a concept, or a place, or a person. It could be a proper noun, place, or person with no preposition. It could be a demonstrative adjective like ce, cet, cette, c'est plus an object. As a reminder, ce, cet, cette, c'est mean this. So, for example, this telephone, this flower, these students. Ce is for masculine things. Cet is for masculine plus a vowel. Set is for feminine, and say is for plural. Otherwise, perhaps the first word being underlined of the object is a possessive adjective like mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, tes, son, sa, ses, notre, nos, votre, vos, leur, leur, plus the object. Those will all lead us to be replacing something with le, la, or les. Remember that le and la and L apostrophe can mean either it, or the les can be them. The le can also be he, the la can be she, and les can be them for people. So le, la, les work for both objects, places, concepts, and people, as long as there is no preposition before it. For other people that are not only third person, right, because he, she, and them is third person, we have the first person here. We have, if the underlined thing is moi, then it's going to get replaced with me. If the underlined thing is second person toi, then it will become te in your sentence. Nous or moi plus another person will get replaced with nous, which is first person. Or the underlined thing is vous or toi plus another person, that will get replaced with vous. As a reminder, when you put these into a sentence, for example, j'aime le chocolat. Le chocolat will become le. It will go in between, or before my verb rather. Je l'aime. Same thing with je. J'aime, and the idea of toi, for example. Toi would become te. It would go before the verb. Je t'aime. Of course, we can think about having to change this verb tense, and that may change the placement of where the verb goes. Continuing on, for indirect objects, that's when you do have a preposition plus a noun. So you have a subject, verb, preposition of some sort, and a noun, whereby the noun is the beneficiary of that verb. So it's the person, place, or thing, or concept that is receiving that action of the verb. So that's less important than just remembering that for us, we're going to be focusing on the preposition a and using some form of person or people. When we do first person, a plus moi, or a plus nous, that nous could be rewritten as moi plus another person, these will become me and nous, which seems strange because that, of course, is the same as what you're doing when you're doing it as an indirect object. That's fine, they will be double used. For second person, you'll be using a plus toi, becomes te, and a plus vous, which could be written as toi plus another person, and that will become vous. So there isn't really anything new here so far, just the fact that the me, te, nous, vous, which was originally all considered all considered direct. Same thing with le, la, les. Now, the me, te, nous, vous can also be used for indirect. Remember that this is for first person and second person. So what about third person? In our direct spot, this was all third person when referring to people, could also refer to objects or places or concepts. However, our third person for indirect is over here. Lui is standing in for a plus a person, either him or her. And leur is standing in for a plus plural people, which is them. Okay, so I'm going to put that down here. A plus the idea of him or her would become lui. Regardless of gender, it doesn't matter. This is third person. And a plus them, plural, becomes leur, also third person. The same rule will apply in terms of where you're putting it. So let's give some examples. Je parle à mon professeur. À mon professeur has a plus a singular person, third person. So this will become lui. I will put it before my verb. Je lui parle. If I had done je parle à toi, technically we don't really like this. It's a little bit grammatically incorrect, but a plus a person, this time second person singular, will become te. It will still go here. Je te parle. I'm talking to you. Je parle à mes amis. A plus plural people in the third person will become leur. Goes before my verb. Je leur parle. Of course, if I need to do this in different tenses, I can do that as well. If I have passé no, let me start with imparfait. Je parlais, and I've got à mon professeur still. Lui will go in. I only have one verb, so je lui parlais. Passé composé, je plus et and parler à mon professeur will go before the first verb. Je lui ai parlé. Futur proche, je vais parler à mon professeur. This will go before the infinitive. Je vais lui parler. Passé récent, je viens de parler à mon professeur. Lui will go in before the infinitive. Je viens de lui parler. You'll also notice that I did not do any agreement on my passé composé. Normally when I'm doing direct object pronouns, I will get agreement in the passé composé. However, when I'm doing indirect object pronouns, I will get no agreement in the passé composé, which is really nice because it makes our life a little bit easier. So you may be wondering why I decided to put this diagram as a triangle. That's because sometimes you can have two objects in the same sentence. You can have one indirect and one direct. When that happens, the direction or the order of the pronouns in the sentence itself will follow this order from left to right in the sentence. So let's say, for example, that I have multiple adject pronouns. Like, je donne le chocolat à toi. Le chocolat does not have a preposition, so it is direct. It will get replaced with le. À toi has a preposition, so this is indirect. À toi will become te. I have le and I have te, and I need to put them into my sentence. Which one is going to go first? I'm going to look back at my triangle. The te will go before le from left to right because of the order of my triangle. So when I put these both in, they'll go here before my verb. Je te le donne. If I were doing passé composé, je te l'ai donné. I would not need to make agreement with my indirect object, but I would need to make it with my direct object. In this case, it's masculine, so I don't need to have anything. However, if le chocolat had been la fraise, and got replaced with la, then my L apostrophe here, standing in for la, would require an extra E, agreeing with my direct object pronoun. Okay, we'll be doing a lot of examples with this. Well, let's start off with the two examples or the two exercises that I'm going to have you do in class with a partner. The first one is exercise A. Elle se va tous les vendredis après-midi chez sa grand-mère qui habite dans son quartier. Elle nous raconte ce qu'elle a fait vendredi dernier. Complétez son histoire avec les pronoms qui correspondent, me, te, lui, nous, vous, and leur. So this is only a single pronoun going in depending on context. The second exercise is going to be a little bit more difficult. Exercice B. N'oublie pas, au moment de dire au revoir, la grand-mère d'Elsa se rappelle plusieurs questions qu'elle voulait lui poser. Jouez le rôle d'Elsa et répondez-lui en utilisant les pronoms compléments d'objet indirect. So it says here to use only the indirect, but in a couple of occasions you will be able to actually use both direct and indirect because it'll be obvious that there are two objects. I'll do number one for you. What you would do is take this question, as-tu téléphoné à ton oncle? First, you want to actually just respond to the question. Your tu would become je, your a would become et. Téléphoner gets dropped down as the past participle. À ton oncle drops down as well, except for, of course, similar to te becoming je, ton becomes mon. And now I have my full response. J'ai téléphoné à mon oncle. Normally I'd have an apostrophe here. À mon oncle is clearly the object here because you have subject, verb. So à mon oncle, I had to decide if this is direct or indirect. I look at the first thing that's being underlined. À, that is a preposition, therefore this is indirect. Mon oncle is a third person singular. Therefore, this will become lui. I'll put it in my sentence. I have passé composé, so it goes before the verb. Je lui ai téléphoné. No need to have any agreement here because this is indirect. Remember that agreement only happens in passé composé with direct objects. Okay? Most of these will have only one object, but some of them have multiple. So multiple would be le plan de la ville. À ton frère will be the second one. As-tu répondu à Madame et Monsieur Morin is one. We don't yet know how to do en Espagne, so we'll just leave it. Est-ce que tu as souhaité bon anniversaire is one. À ton petit cousin is the second. As-tu rendu à Nicolas et Virginie is the first one. And le livre qu'ils nous ont prêté is the second one. Remember, you want to try and respond to the question first. Identify your pronouns. Put the pronouns in the right place. In the correct place, as well as the order, which is the triangle order. And 4, check for agreement with only direct object pronouns in the passé composé. Okay, this is quite a difficult lesson to master, so take it nice and slow. We will have plenty of practice above and beyond our class. I'll be having extra exercises that you guys can do. This is definitely one of those cases where practice makes progress, so be prepared to spend quite a bit of time either rewatching this video at different points in the semester, as well as also practicing many sentences. Okay, see you guys in class.